Hi guys, this is the Star Wars The Old Republic free-to-play option guide for the Gunslinger Sharpshooter spec. The purpose of this guide is to give you some help and a guide in how to effectively use your Gunslinger using only the 24 quick slots provided on the free-to-play option, in the event that you do not wish to invest in additional quick slot bars. Some sacrifices need to be made, but nothing very major at all, and you can get by just fine with the 2 quick bars. I'll go through not only the skills which you should exclude from your quick bars to play Sharpshooter spec effectively in the limit, but also a build which is designed particularly to take into consideration that you only have those 24 quick slot bars. So let's just jump right into it. The way that this is set up is as you level up, you can simply train every ability that is offered to you. I will note the abilities you should not train. There are a few abilities which should not be trained because they are not useful for your spec, or because they're not useful in general, or because they are just worth sacrificing for the 24 quick slot bars. And I'll explain which abilities they are and of course why. If you want to see a level by level layout of exactly how to do this in writing, click on the link attached to the video for the full text guide. So, as you level up as a Sharpshooter spec, what you should keep in mind is to train everything. However, the following abilities should be removed whenever your quick slot bars are full. You do not need them for Sharpshooter spec. The Blaster Whip ability, which you'll gain at level 2, and is really effective only for scoundrels. The Vital Shot ability, which is a damage over time and not especially useful or necessary for Sharpshooter spec. Quick Shot, which is again an ability which is much more suited to either scoundrels or sabotage spec gunslingers. Hunker Down is an ability which is very useful, but it's much more of a PvP ability, and as a free-to-player, at least for the time being, you're going to be focused on leveling and PvE, and so you will not need to consider this as much. Those abilities should be removed from your quick bars as you discover that they're full and you need more space. So again, Blaster Whip, Vital Shot, and Quick Shot. Another one which you might want to consider removing is the Heroic Moment. This is an ability which is really just designed for special situations where you are in some kind of trouble and need a kind of a get out of jail free card button to try to help you to survive. So it's really useful, but if you're playing well, it's not strictly necessary. I'll go over it shortly, ways you can fit that in if you really want it. I'd also mention that when you get the Sprint ability, which allows you to run faster at level 15, you don't need to put that on your quick slot bar. You can just activate it and it's permanently set, and you can forget about it and you don't need to take up a slot with that. If it ever somehow gets turned off, you can just go into your abilities by pressing the P button, and you can click it again, right-click it again to activate it. Now, there's a couple of abilities which you should not train, and I'll tell you which ones they are. You should not train, starting at level 28, this ability, Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot is an ability which is only used against targets which you have stunned, and it's only useful against weak targets and strong targets and standard targets. Those are your run-of-the-mill targets which you shouldn't have a problem with anyways. It's a very, very high damage ability compared to others, but it's not useful against elite and champion targets, which are the ones you really are going to want to use an ability like that on. So it's completely useless. On my subscription account, I don't train these kinds of abilities. Most classes have one, which is useful only on weak, standard, and strong targets, which requires a stun of some kind. I never train them. I don't even spend the money. It's not worth it. So you do not need to worry about ignoring that one. Similarly, Headshot at level 34 is really just a stronger version of Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot has a very short range, a melee range, and Headshot has a ranged of 30 meters. It's the same thing. You don't need to worry about it. Finally, I would say Surrender is an ability which I would suggest not training. What it does is it lowers your threat, so if you're in a situation where a lot of enemies are attacking you, it can cause them to leave you alone. It's not completely useless, but it's really much, much better for operations and endgame stuff than it is for just everyday leveling. If you're doing a good job and you're just playing well, you shouldn't need to worry about it at all. Finally, as far as the abilities go, I'll mention one other thing. You will find that as you get higher level, you're going to want slots for a couple of other things. One is you're going to want a slot for your speeder, because it's kind of cumbersome to go into the ability menu to activate your speeder, which is your mount. So you're going to want to find a place to put that. Another thing that you're probably going to want a place for from the very beginning is an ability which you will get trained at level 1. And every class has an ability like this. This one's called Recuperate. What it does is when you're in combat, it allows you to recover your health rapidly, as opposed to just waiting for the health to very slowly tick up. This is a very useful ability to have on your quick bar. You'll probably want it. You'll get that at level 1. And lastly, I did say that the Heroic Moment would be an ability which you may in fact wish to keep on your quick bar. So what if you want to do this? The setup I've given you so far should leave you with 1 empty slot. What if you want to fill up the other slots with these 3 abilities? You're short 2. Or what if you want to not use one of these but put a med pack on your quick bar or something else? Well, here's the 2 abilities which I'd say you can safely not put on your quick bar. It would be fine. The first is an ability which you'll get from the skill tree, which we'll get to in a moment. And that ability is called Diversion. Okay? I'm looking for it on here. I don't see it. I'll just show you the icon on the skill calculator. Diversion. Diversion is an ability which allows you to cause another target who is in cover to leave cover. It's very useful in PvP. It's less useful in PvE in leveling. You can use it to cause the target to have lower accuracy. So if you're fighting a leveling mob and you wish to lower its accuracy so that you can take less damage from it, you can use that, but it's really not necessary at all. Finally, I would say that Excess Freighter Flyby is another ability which you could take off your quick bar if you wanted to. It's a really cool ability, it's a late game ability, and it's especially useful again in operations and in PvP. It's a gigantic AoE, massive damage attack. It's really cool, but it's not strictly necessary for leveling, and you don't get it until level 48 anyway. If you want to take it off, that's fine. So, again, all this information is available in text format in the guide, which you can look at on the video below. Let's now take a look at the skill calculator to see how you should build your character to work with the quick bar limitations. It's a fairly standard build. It's actually not one which you're it's not a build at all which you are sacrificing anything really that you would normally get. If there's any differences from what you'd get if you were a subscriber with the full quick bars, I'll mention it, but there really isn't anything. So at level 10, you're going to get your chance to put your very first ability in, and you're going to want to put it in steady shots. You're going to want to fill those up. You're going to want to move over to Sharpshooter and fill these up. For the sake of time, I'm not explaining what they do, but you can read them. You're then going to want to move up here and put a point in percussive shots, and then ballistic dampers, fill that out, fill out sharp aim, then fill out quick aim, fill out snapshot, and you can take up diversion. It's useful to have. When you run out of space, you can remove it if you like, as I said. After you get diversion, go ahead and pick up foxhole, then go ahead into rapid fire, fill that out, and then fill out or put 1 point into slick shooter. Now go for trick shot. Trick shot is another ability which will go onto your action bar, and it's already accounted for. You have room. Next, get both points in recoil control, then go back and put another point into slick shooter to finish it up. Then go down, put a point into cover screen. That lets you get up here, fill out Deadeye, go back, finish cover screen, put a point into spacer, and then fill out burst volley. That is another ability which you will have access to. It will go on your quick bar. You have room. I'm bouncing around a little bit here. That's because I've designed the build in mind to focus on what will be most useful at a given time, and then going back to other things later if you will need to use them to fill out the tree so that you can reach the next level, because you need 5 points per tier to reach the next level. So sometimes I have to go back so that you can get up to the next level, but I'm going back to an ability which was not useful earlier in the game, and now it's more useful for you. You've finished out the sharpshooter tree. You have to put in another 10 points. Put them into Streetwise first, then come over here and put the 2 into Black Market Mods, into No Holds Barred, into Flash Powder. Flash Powder is a skill which a lot of players do not take, and it's perfectly fine if you don't want to take it and want to put it into something else, such as extra energy. I think it can be useful for leveling because you're going to be throwing your flash grenades at mobs to stun them, and then letting them do less damage when they awaken is probably better for you, especially because you can be limited on resurrections as well. And all the defense that you can throw in for a couple extra points, the better. Again, this is just a general guide. You can change things around if you like. This is one thing which I think a lot of players might choose differently. I don't normally take it in my builds, but I think it could be pretty useful for you. So feel free to go back and go through this again if you need to see again. I have all of this laid out level by level in text format in the guide below. And if you're interested in one of the other Gunslinger specs, or you find out after playing this one you'd like to try a different one, that's fine. You can respec, you can adjust your quick bars, and I have guides for the other specs as well as all of the other classes. Alright guys, thank you and have fun.